So that brings us in the first loop, which is knowledge. If you truly have consciousness, you truly will start develop knowledge, and the knowledge will lead you to a first and next positive loop of life. But if you're entering the fear, the negative loop of life, you will find yourself with some sort of ignorance. And it's very easy to identify if you're in a state of ignorance. So do you ignore anything? Like, do you ignore advice? Do you ignore some videos? Do you think you know it all? Are you ignorant about something? That's where you have to start thinking about, oh shit, are you in a negative loop? Or you truly start developing knowledge, are conscious about what you're doing, and do you really care about changing that? Do you do half-ass shit and whatever, watch videos while you do other stuff and trading and don't really care about it too much, that you just blame someone else and don't want to put in the work and don't follow all the 50 million guidelines as you have, because you don't want to gain the consciousness and you are fearing to acting upon all the knowledge, and there's some sort of barrier which creates this ignorance about you. Because if that's the case, again, either positive or negative, the next loop is the internal expression. And that is what happens inside of you. The level of understanding happens internally. What does that mean? The next positive loop is, or the positive loop continues by unifying the three aspects of consciousness, such there is no internal contradiction between, again, the three stages, the thoughts, emotions, and actions. Again, the heart, the mind, and the guts. That's where you truly are in line with your thoughts, your emotions, you're feeling good about what you do, you have confidence, and you truly put in the effort, the time, you're spending your spiritual currencies in actions that bring you further in life. Okay, and when you do that, you will gain supreme. Supreme is the internal monarchy. That means that is a state in which you control your own thoughts, emotions, and actions. That is where true self-control, true self-mastery, true self-love, and true self-ownership starts to develop. Okay, it's not you pointing at the finger at someone else and blaming something. Is it a news event? Do you blame whatever, so like some sort of educator or some sort of student or your neighbor or your cat? No, you are in balance with yourself. You know you are in control about your own life. You understand that you steer your own reality, okay? And if you have true self-control based out of true consciousness and true knowledge, and are aligned with your own thoughts and emotions, you're not sitting in front of your screen having fear and like being all sweaty and are feared of pressing that buy or sell button after you had all your confluences checked and followed your guidelines, and it's to the absolute minute setup and a perfect cup trade, then you follow your entry protocol with the approach you want to choose, and there's a lead confirmation, and you have 15 other confluences. That's the you have good feeling about it. You back tested the setup 5 million times. You have developed confidence and true belief in the system and know exactly the do's and don'ts of your strategy. That's where the magic starts to happen, because you're in peace with yourself. The internal monarchy, again, you're an inner personal good being about yourself and truly trade in harmony. The negative loop to it is if you have not taken in knowledge, as you have been afraid of something, and that brought you to the lack of understanding, that's when you will gain. And again, that's very easy to spot if you're in a state of that, and that's confusion. Confusion is nothing else than internal anarchy. Okay, the good side of it is internal monarchy. Monarchy is the one ruler. The monarchy is like mon comes from one, and archy is the ruler, right? So it's the one ruler from within. So you are the leader of yourself. You ruling yourself. The internal anarchy just means that internal anarchy is the absence of the ruler within. So you are not controlling yourself. You're confused about what's going on. Your emotions go crazy, your thoughts are different, and your actions are completely out of place. Confusion could be seen as the internal opposition within your own consciousness, being torn apart from within in such a way that your own thoughts, emotions, and actions are contradicting each other. Okay, so if nothing makes sense to you, you're clearly in a state of confusion. That's how you have to go the steps back, because again, you never gained true knowledge. You never gained true knowledge because you're lacking consciousness. Again, if you look at our loop now, we start, or if you're entering a state of fear, out of fear gets ignorance. Only if you're ignorant about something, you can get confused. You cannot have knowledge, true knowledge, truly understanding the strategy, truly following your guidelines, all the confluences, all the rule sets, all the checklists, and then be confused. It is not possible. You only can be confused if you ignored something. Is it the checklist? Is it some sort of confluence? Is it some kind of anti-confluence? Is it some sort of higher time frame approach? Did you only look at the 1 minute but ignored the 5 minute, or did you look at the M5 and ignored the 1 hour? Then only then you can start to get confused. But only ignorance can be gained out of fear. If you feel afraid of something, only then you will be ignorant about something else. And only if you're ignorant, you start being confused. So that's where you can reverse engineer these steps. So if you find yourself in the state of confusion, again, your internal anarchy, that's where your inner self is not present. Again, you're not, again, means the absence of a ruler from within. You're not in harmony with your own thoughts, emotions, and actions. So maybe you have a bad feeling about it. Maybe you don't trust yourself. Maybe you're just having a weird mental issue with money management. That's maybe when you're trading too big a lot sizes, or you're risking too much. Maybe you're not familiar with risking too much because you're in a stage of life where money means a lot to you and you cannot afford this next L, or you're putting yourself into pressure where you'll be like, you need to become a full-time trader. Too much pressure starts with fear. You're putting too much pressure about it. You're fearing, what if not? Then you're entering again the negative loop of ignorance. Then you start to ignoring something because you want to make the shortcut. It will not gonna work. If you're ignoring it and you're making mistakes, that's where the confusion starts from. Starts to click, right? But if you walk the positive loop about the consciousness, you start really taking care of what has to be done and really putting in the work, spending your spiritual currencies well, gaining true knowledge, understanding what's going on, follow all the guidelines, rule sets, and cheat sheets and all that stuff, then being in internal monarchy, gaining supreme, having good thoughts, emotions, and putting in the right actions, having true self-control, that's where the magic will unfold.